Welcome to the Bare Bone Budget Garage, where our specialty is spending the least amount of money on our projects. We also specialize in spending the least amount of time, labor on our projects. I'm your host, the Old Mecanico. Thank you for stopping by. We hope you stick around. What are we doing today? We're going to see if we can save a bunch of money on some wheel cylinders. Now, you saw that last show where we took the cylinder off, and here it is, and it all boils down to this bleeder. We're going to show you how to get this rusty, frozen bleeder out of here without using heat. And that's a big deal because here at the Bare Bone Budget Garage, we don't have a bunch of equipment and we don't need it because we find ways to get by. That's our motto, get by with what you have. Let's see if we can get this bleeder out of here so we can continue with the repair. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. Right here is absolutely the best rust penetrator thread loosener that you can have. You can't buy this, you have to make it. You're going to need a little bit of acetone. You're going to need some ATF, automatic transmission fluid. And you're going to mix it in a glass jar. Now, at first I thought the glass jar would be unsafe, but the glass jar is going to remind you that you're going to have to shake it almost every time you use it. I'll let this sit here just for a little bit and it separates. Now, you don't need a whole bunch, you just need a little bit. So I've got the solution, I've got the vise, and I've got the culprit. The culprit is the rust. There's rust all over this cylinder and all over the truck. So we need something special that's going to help us get rid of some of this rust and loosen this bleeder. If we get this bleeder out of here, I'm going to save myself at least $25 per wheel. Let's go to the next step. 1 minute and it starts to separate. That's why I like that glass jar, because it reminds me to shake it up. Now, just any little brush will do it. I'm going to pat some on there, and then we're going to do a couple more things. We get that going just like that, and of course I'm being careful with the our rust penetrator over there. And who remembers the shock? We need to shock this. I've got that solution in there, but we're going to help it by doing this. And again, and maybe just a little bit on the other side. We do that. We do that. This is important to help get these rusty components to let go so we can reuse them. Now, the secret to the success is your patience. You have to give it time. This is not going to work in just minutes. It's going to have to soak maybe a whole hour before we attempt to loosen this up. Now, we're going to treat it several times, but while we're waiting, we're going to do something else. Wow, look at this. It looks awful. All of this rust built up. I know it looks terrible, but give me a chance and I think I can save it. These pistons, they look rough. Here's these boots. They same thing. Look at all that rust that's coming out of there. That's terrible. But let me show you how we're going to get these cleaned up and ready to use again. It's amazing what we can do around here. Brake clean. It works great except for this situation. We cannot spray this on the rubber. It tells me here on the back, protect rubber brake parts from overspray. So forget it. We can't use this. What are we going to use? Some dish soap. I like the Dawn Platinum. It works great. Little soap and water. Here we go. I need this and I need some soap. We'll mix it up and you're going to be surprised how just a little bit of soap and water is going to fix this pistons and this rubber. Is going to recondition them and it's going to make them look like new. I'll go ahead and start to soak these in here and give it a chance to start doing it. Boy, I can see that rust coming out of there. Might as well get them all in the bath. We're going to do that. I've got my wire brush. I can start to see it's already getting better. Just a little bit of soap and water and elbow grease. I'm going to brush them, let them soak. Same thing here. I'll start to scrape these a little bit with the soap and water, and they're going to clean up. These rubber components are still good because they're flexible. Yes, if these rubber components were hard and cracked, well, I'd have to get a wheel cylinder kit, but in this case, all the rubbers, they're not torn, they're not cracked, they're not hard. Oh, look, I found a way to get in there a little bit better so I can get it all out of there. I'm starting to like it. You see that? It's starting to clean up. It's going to be as good as new. All right. Let's see. Let's get them one more good slosh in the soap, and then we'll move them over to some fresh water. Let's get this rusty stuff out of here and get some fresh water going in there. All right. So far, everything's looking good. Now we're going to rinse them with some fresh water. Good old fresh water. It works great. Right in there, and we rinse all the soap off of it. These are starting to look very reusable. Let's go to the next step. The next step is let's go back to that wheel cylinder and work that bleeder screw. There's that reminder of how our solutions separate, so we always like to mix it up. I haven't tried to loosen it yet. I'm going to in just a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and give it another treatment. Get that acetone and ATF going in there. This has got a nice strong smell to it. There must be some kind of chemical reaction that's helping to loosen those threads. This rust penetrator is working its way in, but you have to give it a chance and you have to keep working it. This helps to jar the metal loose around from the fittings. I'm going to go ahead and try to see if this guy is going to come off. I've got my fingers crossed. I'm only working with a 1/4 inch drive. This is a 3/8, and I'm going to give it a little try here. Now it all comes down to this guy here. If I can take it out, I can save it. But if it breaks, it's probably not worth trying to get that bleeder out of there. Now I will actually attempt to tighten it. I'm going to change the direction just a little bit. I'm working it. I'm working it. And then I'm going to try one more time. And then we'll probably go do something else and give it a chance. Let's go do something else and be patient with this rust penetrator. The rubbers, they're starting to look pretty good. Now these pistons, they need a little more attention just so they work well. Now we don't need to upgrade this vehicle. Everybody wants to put power disc brakes all the way around there. These brakes are going to work fine with this particular application. No, I don't have 500 horsepower. These brakes are going to work fine. These old pistons, they're going to work fine. This old cylinder, she's going to work fine. This old mechanical, he's trying to work that fine in there. Right? We got them cleaned up, almost ready to try and get that bleeder out of there. Oh, we got one little spot that's built up, but I think I got it. Let's go get that bleeder out of there. I gave it one more try with that 1/4 inch drive, and no, it didn't go. So I'm going to have to upgrade it just a little bit to a 3/8 drive. I still haven't loosened it. I'm still being patient, and I'm still hoping that that bleeder is going to loosen up for me. And oh, yes! We have success. This bleeder has cooperated to where it's going to come out. Now, I want you to see something real important. I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with these threads. They're still good. It was just the fusion that takes place right on the outer edge, and that's where you concentrate. You brush it, you put that rust penetrating in there, you tap around that area, you give it a chance, you try it again, you're being patient. But look at those threads, they're beautiful. Now I'm going to put a nice fresh bleeder in there because this one's kind of rusty and it's going to go. Yes, we're going to reuse the cylinder, but check it out. It is awful in there. Can you see that rust? It's awful. I called the auto parts to see if they would lend me. They didn't have any wheel cylinder hone, so I have my scrubbing pad, and I think I'm going to make my own cylinder hone. You see what I'm doing? I'm taking this up, I'm rolling it, I'm making sure it's going to fit in there. I've got it in the right direction. I'm going to get it wet, right? Get some water on there, and then it's important that we get some, not only for cleaning, but for lubrication. We're going to get that going in there. I'm going to get this guy mounted in position, and we're going to start honing this thing. All right, so far so good. This is the first time I've ever tried this. I'm going to put a little bit more soap to keep it lubricated and for cleaning purposes. This little homemade hone sure seems to be working well, and we're going to clean this cylinder up. So far we haven't spent any money, and this cylinder is going to be reused again. Awesome. Boy, look at that. It's coming out real good. At least the foam is. After this, I'm gonna rinse it, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like. All right, well, now I'm gonna rinse it out with some water, and let me wipe it down before I show you what it looks like. I've got my hopes way up there. It's amazing what just a little bit of savvy and a little bit of elbow grease will do. Let's take a look at it. What do you think? It's gonna work. Of course, I'm gonna brush the whole thing, but we have a very important section on each end. We wanna make sure that this end is completely as clean as possible, because that's where the dust seal goes. This is what's going to help to keep the moisture and the dirt from getting in there. So it's important that we clean both ends of these guys in order for this dust boot to go on there and seal correctly. I think it's time to put it together. All these parts cleaned up real good. The pistons, the seals, the dust boots, the cylinder. There's nothing wrong with that spring. It's time to put this together. I'll need a little bit of brake fluid for lubrication. All rubber seals always go lubricated. I'm going to go ahead and get that in there. I'll put that in there. I've probably rebuilt a bunch of these cylinders. I've got it memorized. I go with this one first. It's not hard at all. It's going to work fine. I've got it completely saturated with the brake fluid. Look how easy these go in there. You just have to tuck them in the right direction. The lip does have to go in a certain direction. I've got that one installed. I'll go ahead. I'll put a little bit of lube on here. A little bit, right? A little bit on that guy right there. And then I'll push it in. So far, so good. Might as well finish this one side. No, might as well keep going. We're going to put this other piston in, this other seal, and it goes a certain way. It's not hard at all. You get that guy in there, and then you push it in. Look how easy these move. Compared to when we first started working with it, I had to use the hammer to get it out. This cylinder is going to work awesome. Now I'm going to make sure to even put some of this brake fluid around that critical area. It's okay, get the whole thing wet, because this brake fluid, it helps to create that seal that's going to keep moisture and dust out. All right, let's get this guy on here. Okay, that one's on there. One more to go. And we are going to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Get that lubricated, get that installed. Can I roll it in this time all the way? There. All right. This is looking awesome. I don't know about you, but I think this is beautiful. It's beautiful because we spent $0. Now the cheapest one online is about $20 and the most expensive one is $80. What's the difference? The brand name. The ones that have been around forever, Delco Remy, Ray Vestas, they're going to have higher prices, and then the Chinese ones. Now I'm a little curious. I doubt that they bore them out and put pistons in. They do pretty much the same thing I did, but they're going to charge you $20. Here we spent $0 and we're on budget. Folks, thank you for the view. I hope you keep coming back. Thank you.